I'm going to talk to you about your bowels, your guts, diarrhea, inflammatory bowel disease, and bacteria. Now, if you have bowel problems, you really want to listen to this. Research published in a respected journal suggests that the treatment I'm going to mention, and it's really interesting, restores gut bacteria to a healthy state. Other work in mice has already suggested conditions like ulcerative colitis could be treated in this way, the way I'm going to tell you. So we're building on previous work. Now, let's put that aside for a minute. I've long been an advocate of using bacteria, friendly bacteria, in treatment and prevention of a number of diseases. These germs are called probiotics, or friendly germs, and you can even add a sugar, fructooligosaccharides, into the environment in the gut to foster their growth. They're called prebiotics. The issue is, what are the normal germs that you have been born with, your germ footprint, let's call it, which ones are required for treatment, and how best to deliver these germs to the gut where they're needed in enough quantity while passing through your acid stomach that kills lots of these very friendly creatures. Last, remember that the stuff you buy online or in a health food store may not actually be packed with enough viable organisms to make a real impact, because the heat and transportation and storage kills them off, often in enough quantities to make no difference to your health. Remember, you have about 2 trillion germs in your gut, about 1 kilo, 2.2 pounds. Now, let's talk about the study I want to tell you about. Inflammatory bowel diseases like colitis are often fueled by wrongly targeted responses by the immune system to these gut bacteria. Such diseases are more common in developed countries, United States, Europe, etc. And scientists suggest that this is because people in developing countries, Africa, parts of Latin America, have more exposure to a parasitic worm, helminths, and their infections, and therefore have natural protection that has evolved as people and worms learned to coexist over thousands of years. Parasitic worms are old friends, and humans have lived with them for as long as we've existed. It appears that our immune systems came to rely on parasitic worm infections as part of the way our body defended itself. And when they are no longer there, it appears that they may upset our immune systems. Hookworms and pig whipworms are amongst those being investigated. Results are really promising. But those of you who are squeamish about dealing with worms or their eggs may not have to worry, because it's more than likely that over time drugs will be developed that mimic their effects. So like I said, recent studies have used parasitic worms to successfully treat inflammatory bowel disease in humans, but it's unclear exactly how this works. In this latest study, 5 monkeys with diarrhea were treated with parasitic worms called whipworms. Tissue samples were taken before and after treatment, and it was found the balance of gut bacteria was restored to required levels, and 4 out of 5 animals had less diarrhea and started to gain weight. Dr. Ping Luk of the New York University Langone Medical Center, who led the study, said, and I quote, "The idea for treating colitis with worms is not new, but how this therapy might work remains unclear. Our findings," his findings, "suggest that exposure to helminths may improve symptoms by restoring the balance to the microbial communities that are attached to the intestinal wall." Now, I've said this before, and I will say it again. Cleanliness is not next to godliness. God put lots of creatures on this earth to interact. We have created ridiculous rules that are now being disproven and should be put away. This is Dr. Sam Benjamin with medical news I'm sure you could use.